Yes, for another No One Go Friday presentation. I'm going to share a timely reflection with you before we move on with our program. So I'm sure you all know, if you don't, you will now. Monday is Veterans Day, so thinking of our veterans today. God of compassion, God of dignity and strength, watch over the veterans of the United States in recognition of their loyal service to our nation. Bless them with wholeness and love, shelter them, heal their wounds, comfort their hearts, grant them peace. God of justice and truth, rock of our lives, bless our veterans, these men and women of courage and valor, with a deep and abiding understanding of our profound gratitude. Protect them and their families from loneliness and want. Grant them lives of joy and bounty. May their dedication and honor be remembered as a blessing from generation to generation. Blessed are you, protector and redeemer, our shield and our stronghold. So, a few housekeeping rules I want to make you aware of. At your chair, you'll find a few pieces of paper. Those of you who have been here probably know the drill pretty well by now. Your feedback helps us out a lot, so please, any feedback you have, if you put that on the yellow form. If you're interested in getting one of our cool Agnesian swag things, fill out the green at the end of the program, and Terry will collect those at the end. So as a part of our mission, we have the opportunity to help those in need. And as a Catholic healthcare ministry, we are committed to providing our community with the tools, support, and training necessary to become healthy, productive, and self-sustaining. Today we have several presenters with us who are eager to tell us more about the processes for community benefit, sponsorships, foundation grants, and not-for-profit fundraisers. Presenters today include myself, Dennis Bangart, Dr. Mike DeGere, Michelle Ries, and Shelly Haberman. So for today, we're going to have Show Me the Money. We're going to learn about the process for community benefits, sponsorships, foundation grants, and not-for-profit funds. So it all starts with our mission. If it wouldn't be for our mission, this wouldn't be as important to us. And our mission, as you know, is through our exceptional healthcare services, we reveal the healing presence of God. Agnesian Healthcare, which is a faith-based ministry, is our mission to provide healthcare to all who come here. And I can't emphasize that, all. Regardless of their ability to pay, lifestyle, age, ethnicity, etc., etc., etc. As a faith-based ministry, we embrace caring for the most vulnerable of our population, the poor, the elderly, the marginalized, people from the LGBTQ community who are unsure of where they can go to safely receive health care, the underinsured, the immigrants, and the list goes on and on and on. We're guided by our values, which is compassion. Compassion, we reveal the healing presence of God through compassionate care that is focused on the fullness of the person. Respect. We respect life at all stages and promote the dignity and well-being of every person. And this means the homeless, the drug addicted, the repeat person who comes back day after day after day, not following what we ask them to do, the unborn, those at the end of life. Excellence. We provide exceptional care and service through employees and physicians dedicated to our mission. This means doing our very best, embracing educational opportunities so that we provide cutting-edge care, state-of-the-art best practice care for our patients, providing educational opportunities and opportunities for the people of our community to continue to grow in their careers and finding careers in healthcare. Stewardship. We use financial, human, and natural resources responsibly and care for the environment. We do this through the process improvement initiatives that we embrace, eliminating waste of time and supplies. We embrace recycling and being good stewards of our resources. Community. We cultivate relationships that inspire service, promote justice in our organization and throughout communities. And it's with special concern for the poor and the marginalized. And our community. Supporting the communities that we live and work in is paramount to the work that we do. It takes time, talent, and money to support those in need. And this is how we, as a mission, faith-based ministry, work to provide the healing presence of God. I'm going to turn this over to Dennis Bangart, the accounting manager for the Greater Fond du Lac region, to talk about understanding not-for-profits.
All right, can you hear me? Kind of. Okay. Yep, my name is Dennis Bangart. I've been with Agnesia now 8 months. I have a couple of topics I'm gonna go over this morning. And the first one is I'm gonna discuss not-for-profits. So some unique characteristics of not-for-profits, the types of not-for-profits, and give a brief description of Form 990, which is used as the return organizations for exempt from income tax. Having a not-for-profit designation makes you eligible for tax exemption. I should grab this here so I can change this screen so you guys can see what I'm looking at.
Do you have the microphone at?
Yeah. Can you hear me? Hello?
That's better.
Better? Okay. All right, so having a not-for-profit designation makes you eligible for tax exemption, but you still need to register for tax exempt status with the IRS. The state grants not-for-profit status, and the IRS grants tax exemption. Also, an interesting characteristic is that in most not-for-profits, the board of directors play an active role in the day-to-day activities. Some other unique characteristics of accounting and reporting for not-for-profits are how they track the contributions. Prior to 2018, contributions were categorized into 3 groups: unrestricted, temp restricted, and permanently restricted. Currently, there are 2 categories of contributions. There are with donor restrictions and without donor restrictions. On the 990, expenses are reported by function. For example, program expenses and management expenses. There is also a requirement to have an independent audit if the contributions exceed a certain level. The IRS does not require the audit, but most states do. In Wisconsin, the threshold for an independent audit is contributions greater than $500,000. There are multiple types of not-for-profits. The IRS lists 29 major categories of 501c(s), ranging from 501c1 to 501c29. The most widely known 501c is the 501c3, which is what Agnesian Healthcare is. A 501c3 includes charitable, religious, educational, scientific research, museums and performing arts, health and welfare, and amateur sport companies. Other 501c's are 501c7, which is for social and recreational clubs, 501c13, which is for cemetery companies, and 501c29s, which are co-ops for health insurance issuers. Generally accepted accounting principles are required for not-for-profits to provide their 3 financial statements, which are the statement of financial position, which is the balance sheet, the statement of activities, which is the income statement, and the statement of cash flow. The financial statements are used by external parties to make informed decisions. For example, banks would look at the financial statements to help them determine if the company is creditworthy. IRS Form 990 is used by tax-exempt organizations to report the IRS their activity for the year, including their financial statements, salaries of directors, officers, and key employees. The IRS and not-for-profits themselves are required to disclose the information on the 990 to anyone who asks. Not-for-profits must allow public inspection of these records during regular business hours and at their principal office. However, many people won't even need to ask. There's a number of websites that you can look at, including GuideStar, which is on there as well. So that was the first topic. My next topic that I am going to discuss is community benefits. The 3 forms that we have. So we have our community benefit form, program form, activity form, and the contribution forms. So in an effort to standardize the community benefit request process, the Community Benefit Council at Agnesian Healthcare created a new form, a new program form, activity tracking form, and a community sponsorship form, which will allow us to track and maintain records of community benefit requests. Oh, did I go too far? program form is used to gather information about the program that is being offered to the community. For example, programs we currently have are advocacy for health improvements, Alzheimer's support groups, cancer screening programs, Look Good, Feel Better, and many more. The program form is used to gather information about the program, which helps us determine if we can report the program as a community benefit on the hospital's 990 tax form. To be considered community benefit, 3 prerequisites need to be answered. What is the purpose of providing this benefit to the community? What community health needs priority does the program address? And how will the progress of the program be tracked and measured? The first 2 questions on the form do have dot points to help determine the purpose of the community health needs priority. Once each of the questions are answered on the program form, you can submit the form to the SABISA team member at the new community benefit email address, which is agnesian-communitybenefit@ssmhealth.com, who will add the new program form to the SABISA website. The SABISA online program form only needs to be completed one time for the life of the program. So if the event occurs every year, you won't have to fill the program form out each year. The activity form is used to record the daily activity that pertain to the program. For example, John Doe facilitates a 2-hour monthly meeting at the Alzheimer's support group. You would record that specific detail on the form and submit it to the SABISA team member to be recorded in SABISA. The SABISA activity form requires information that is more specific about the activity. The first question pertains to which program the activity relates to. Also, did you incur any additional expenses that you paid to make the event happen? For example, additional supply costs. We also need to know how many hours you worked at the activity. And lastly, we need to know if there were any offsetting revenue received for that event. For example, funds from the foundation or fundraising or grants that would offset the cost of that activity. The sponsorship form will be given to people and organizations requesting contributions from the Greater Fond du Lac Ministries. This form will be submitted to the marketing team, which will then flow through an approval process to determine if the contribution would be considered community benefit. The community sponsorship form is used to provide general information about the community program that the community member or organization is looking to receive contributions for. We need to know what the community health need priority for the program addresses. What is the purpose of providing the benefit to the community, and how the progress of the program will be tracked and measured. So that was just a brief overview of the forms that we need for community benefits. Does anybody have any questions for me? Okay.
Thanks, Dennis. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here. My name is Mike DeGere. I'm your Vice President for Population Health Management, and my part of the program today is really to tie together what Dennis just told us about with what this looks and feels like functionally for us. So as Dennis set up for us, as a not-for-profit organization, the IRS requires us not less than every 3 years to do a community health needs assessment and have an implementation strategy. Because the first part is identifying with your community partners, and we don't do this alone. I think we serve the intent of the requirement very nicely here. We get together with other healthcare organizations. Aurora Healthcare is at the table, Fond du Lac Health Department's at the table, YMCA, United Way, School District. So really our community partners to say, let's look at what our community health needs are. And here on the local level, we look at how are we going to put together a strategy to deliver on that. And it ties it very nicely to our community benefit work, because it's one thing to do a study, and it's one thing to identify your needs, and it's another thing to serve those needs. As you'll see here, we've identified 3 community health needs priorities: nutrition and physical activity, mental health, and alcohol and other drug abuse. These in blue are the overarching priorities for our community: trauma-informed care and the social determinants of health. Now, these are very broad, so in general, it's pretty difficult not to find something that fits in here. But there are some things, community partners and others come to us and say, hey, would you like to contribute to this? We may, but if we're going to talk about community benefit, we want to make sure it serves one of these needs, just as Dennis set up for us. So we have system expectations at SSM for when we do community benefit and we do these community health needs assessments. How do we serve the agenda more than just once every 3 years? We need to be looking at it continually. So the expectation of us is, when you're going to consider something for community benefit programs, it needs to serve at least one of these. So, and the form accounts for that. So you say, all right, let's put it up against our own strategy. What do we want to work on for community benefit? We've identified the priorities, so let's focus on that. The work's already been done to identify them. Other expectations include doing at least one of these things: improving access, enhancing public health, enhancing general knowledge, or relieving government burden. So when you fill out your form, or someone says, hey, Agnesian Healthcare, would you like to give $10,000 toward this worthy cause? We might. Which of these does it serve? And which of these does it serve? And the answer might be, it doesn't serve any on either list. That doesn't mean we're not interested, but it does mean we're not going to book it as community benefit. There might be other benefits for us. It might just be a good idea, feels good, right thing to do, right? It might be a marketing opportunity. But we need to be strategic about what counts for community benefit. Now, looking at the bigger picture, a lot of community benefit, most, 90+% of community benefit dollars that we contribute is not accounted for in community health improvement programs. You might think, oh, we do a lot of giving, we do a lot of giving. We don't, as a system, do this kind of giving through community health improvement programs. We do most of that kind of giving through things like uncompensated care, in particular charity care. There's different brands of uncompensated care. There's bad debt, there's charity care, and you can't just call bad debt, we didn't get paid for that, we were owed that, but we'll just call that community benefit. Charity care, you know you're not going to get paid for it. So identifying who qualifies for charity care, helping people to apply for it, this is all part of the strategy as well. But look at these numbers. We have some goals, and this goal has changed a little bit during 2019 because we're looking more thoughtfully at how community benefit relates to the work we're doing in our areas. So of this $356 million in total community benefit, the most part of it is dedicated to that uncompensated care I'm talking about. 12.2 million, this is a small percentage. 12.2 should be attributed to these things. So in my mind, it's the usual community benefit things that we'll continue to do, and there'll continue to be a need there. And what are you doing to be very focused about how you match this kind of giving to your identified community health needs? So how are we doing? To Dennis's points, we have to look at what we're doing. We have to measure our progress as we go. Otherwise, we're doing a triennial exercise on identifying needs, and at the end of the 3 years, how do we do? Or at the end of the year scramble, hey everybody, you've gotten this email, remember? It's coming the end of the year, get your stuff in to Christine Schaefer. What did you do in April? Who was there? How much do you think? Yeah, poor Chris, right? He's got to sort through all this. So we need to do this on an ongoing basis. And looking at how we're doing also helps us to say, how are we tracking? If we're flat against our goal, maybe people aren't asking for help in these areas. Maybe we're not thinking ourselves about how we can help. So how are we doing? Here are our system stats through September. 345+ million toward this goal. Looks like we'll hit that. And I'll bet there's going to be a little bit at the end of the year scramble yet, right? Because it's always going to be probably true to a certain extent. So it looks like we'll do okay here. But how about here? Remember, this is the community health improvement arm. 3.2 million, a lot of dollars, but we're a 4-state system, right? So this year has been a more thoughtful look at how are we doing here versus here. This is still a very small percentage of this. This is a pretty small percentage of this. So this is where we want to spend more of our time, because this is going to happen anyway, and we're going to pay attention to this. It's very, very important. But if we are going to actually improve the health of our communities as it relates to our identified community health needs, and they are different community to community, then we have to pay attention to this. And we have to fund this, because ultimately, if you have goals around community needs, then you have to look at what are those needs determined by, right? Hunger is a good example, I think. You can provide a meal to someone who's hungry and you've done some good. But if you say, why are so many people hungry? Now you're getting down to determinants of that need. This is a longer push. This is a longer play. This is 10 and 20 years of let's improve the community health improvement that we're trying to do. And this is let's serve the need that's right before us right now. So food serves the immediate need. What are the social determinants of that need? So that's why it's in our community health priorities list. All right, so just to give some color commentary around why do we have all these forms and why are we being so intentional? Because if we don't keep track, we don't know how we're doing. And if we're not tracking to our goal, then we need to think about ways we can contribute more. Because as Peggy lined it up in the beginning, this is all about mission. This is why we come to work, to help as much as we can in the communities we serve. All right, thank you for the time. I will turn it over now to Michelle to take it from here.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Let's see here. The Ignatian Healthcare Foundation, who we are. Charitable tax-exempt organization existing to accept, acknowledge, and invest charitable gifts to help meet the health needs of the people in our community. Enhancing patient experience beyond the traditional Greater Fond du Lac Ministries operating budget. What we do. Are we going to load here? Am I getting the full slide? There we go. And I'm able to share with you in the few minutes this morning just a small synopsis of the work that we do. And Sean and I are available to come and speak to you as individuals or at some of your department meetings should you wish to hear about any further detail of the work that we do. We are happy and eager to share that with you. What we do, the Caring for You Fund, some of you, maybe half of you in this room know about this fund that Carol Hyland started years ago, funding non-medical expenses for patients navigating through long-term or life-threatening illness. Very valuable fund to our system. $48,000 in funding provided to help 110 patients navigate long-term illness. The Samaritan Cash Raffle that you see and support, thank you so much with your purchase of raffle ticket sales annually. 742 service vouchers provided in 2018, and our goal annually for the Samaritan Health Clinic Cash Raffle is $100,000 to be able to support Ignatian Healthcare just separately from the foundation to the tune of $100,000. That's our goal for that. Hospice care, hospice patient care, the Hospice Home of Hope. On an average, it costs $235 per day for hospice care. In 2018, 887 patients received care and nearly 1/3 received financial assistance. Much of this fundraising comes from our annual Charity Open event. This last year, closing in on $400,000 on one day of golf at South Hills. Very proud of that event, and thank you for your support in those raffle ticket sales. I like to tell people that their time does come, so keep buying those tickets, and hopefully you'll be a winner one of these years. So the foundation also supports your departments, individual proceeds from events, and you can see the work that we do managing some of the recognition pieces in our system. Also the Angel of Hope Garden, Legacy Circle, the Hospice Home of Hope plates, plaques, any other recognition pieces that you see in the system are led by our initiatives in our office. Love Light's coming up, a beloved internal event. We have the Love Light ceremony coming up in December. The Employee Relief Fund, which was formerly called the Lend a Helping Hand. So now we share system initiatives within the Employee Relief Fund, but your donations and funding that builds within the foundation does stay local. So again, appreciate your support there, as do our employees. What are the needs in your department? Over the years, the foundation has supported, you see our lovely grand piano in the grand hallway, funded by Garden Walk proceeds in 2006. Also, digital upgrades to that piano over the years have been supported with funding from that event, still from 2006 as well. So when you see some of these lovely patient-enhancing, bar-raising, intensive care harvest, funded by the foundation, the harvest that travels to the Hospice Home of Hope, foundation funded. Pediatric pillowcases at the surgery center, kiddos that are navigating through procedures choose a little pillowcase that follows them through their morning, and then they get to take them home. Those kind of extra things that come from each of you in your departments, helping us to help you help our patients. And again, Sean or I are happy to come to any of your department meetings to speak more to the work of the foundation, so your associates understand the work that we do. Thank you for your support of our annual appeal. And again, 100% of gifts stay local. This is an active fundraiser that we are participating in currently. We thank you again for your support in helping us to achieve system philanthropy goals. I think what's raised here stays here. Does anybody have any questions about the foundation? And if you do, you know where we are. Thank you.
Thank you, Colleen. All right, thank you. I'm here to talk about sponsorships. Between Molly and I and the PR marketing team, we get a lot of requests from the communities, whether it's here, Waupun, Ribbon, for help with various programs, services, fundraisers. Over the years, we found different ways that we can help as many of those, but I'm sure, as you can appreciate, we get a lot of requests. And I'm grateful that people look to us for those sponsorship opportunities. So why do we sponsor them? What is the benefit for the Greater Fond du Lac Ministries and in turn for our communities? So it's very important to us, as it is to many of us in our room who have different organizations or causes that we are very passionate about. We appreciate that. So we want to show that we support, that we encourage involvement in community activities, both organizational and individual. So if I'm out working with the Children's Museum of Fond du Lac, that reflects back to the Greater Fond du Lac Ministries through my efforts, but in turn, that the Greater Fond du Lac Ministries gives me that time to be there to support their various initiatives. So again, show our interest continued, and especially as we become part of SSM Health further, we want to show that that support is not going away, that actually our hope is that it will be encouraged more. So showing that we're part of our communities, we have a vested interest, and we're here to stay. Again, each of you in this room and all of our employees have that opportunity to be our ambassadors. So again, to show that we're committed, that we're compassionate, and that our service goes beyond these walls here, Waupun, Ribbon, Campbellsport, wherever that might be. And again, we always want to reflect a positive corporate and community citizen position for Indonesian healthcare outwardly, the Greater Fond du Lac Ministries within. And as Dr. DeGere talked about, we want to also be there supporting those activities within our community that promote a healthy lifestyle. So all of these things are key components of why we reach out and in turn receive requests. Just some more thoughts again. We look for things that align with our mission and values. So whenever we get a sponsorship request, we consider that. Very often does it not fit within, but we want to make sure if our name is tied to an event that it fits within our strategies and our mission. We want to complement our more formal marketing and branding efforts. So when we receive these requests, Molly or whoever's taking that, we want to make sure that when we're promoted with an event, they're using our right name, they're using the right logo, the logo looks well, making sure that all of our branding standards are within that. And as we go through this transition, what logo do you use? A lot of people graciously are calling us SSM Health. We need to bring that with our rebranding efforts. So rather than seeing the SSM Health logo copied and used incorrectly, we're working through our form and the work that Dennis and his team has done to make sure that we're getting all that information so we can get the recipients what they need to effectively promote us. And then again, produce less results that are less tangible than direct marketing efforts, yet serve as a foundation for effective public and community relations efforts. So how do we determine which to support? This is actually in policy form. So again, it needs to align with our mission and values and our Catholic Health Ministry identity. Again, as Dr. DeGere shared, it needs to align with a key organization audience, children and youth, poor and vulnerable, women, elderly. Again, it would align with our major branding positioning theme. Again, health promotion, preventative care, maybe a growth initiative. And again, the request generally will come from a local or regional organization, more so local, which is non-for-profit. Again, some additional things that we consider, we look at how many people are affected. So sometimes we'll get a request, my daughter just made her way to a regional dance competition, would you sponsor? No, it's one person. We look for those events where we're affecting hundreds or more. Again, a staff member. So we talk about, I used to be on the Children's Museum board. I would come and say, hey, we've got this event coming up, would you consider sponsoring? And I'm very passionate about it. So it might be a staff member request or involvement. It provides a presence in a new growth area or within the community. We would look at that. Well-positioned event. There are certain events that we come back to every year because we know they do a stellar job. It reflects well on us, and we want to support the local community. And then obviously budget factors into it as well. So what don't we sponsor? We talk about the individual sponsors. We do get a lot, and I'm very proud of our area youth who do get to go on to other things, or even adults who have aspirations for different goals that they've personally set. But again, supporting individual events isn't part of our focus. Candy sales, fundraisers, we generally don't fund those, and one of the things we really encourage even internally is if you're doing a fundraiser, as Michelle mentioned, the Ignatian Healthcare Foundation has a lot of opportunities where we can support from within. So I know we have a lot of folks that do fundraisers for other organizations, and while we appreciate that, we always encourage people to look within first. One of the things that we've been able to do that really helps us perpetuate our sponsorships are gift baskets. So a lot of fundraisers, maybe for an individual. My daughter has this, she's got a lot of medical bills, and we need money to help support that. One way we are able to help is through our gift baskets, and Michelle does a great job of getting those together for organizations, because a lot of these fundraisers will have silent auctions. And then again, we want to make sure that our events support our Catholic ministry, and again, however we're being represented, whether it's our name, our logo, meet our overall brand strategies. I think I've got one more. There we go. No, thank you, Colleen. So how do I request a sponsorship? So as Dennis mentioned, we do have forms available on the intranet. When we receive a request now, we're sending those out. So just to give an example, we were following social media and Facebook, And in Waupun, we have a very passionate mayor in Julie Neckel. And Julie had posted and shared with her constituents that the Waupun Food Pantry was having difficulties making their November rent. And so they did a GoFundMe and raised, last I saw it was $1,500, but I'm sure it's more by now. So I engaged Deanne Thurmer at that point and said, boy, you know, here's a need. Would this qualify for community benefit? So I sent that form to the leader of the food pantry. She completed it, got it back to Chris and Dennis, and they said, yes, that qualifies. And so we're gonna help with 1 month of their rent. So it's ideas like that that we can bring forward. Now that will count for community benefit over marketing, but again, it identified a need and we were able to take actions for that. And then, again, we look at the $100 to $500 level. We will manage those within the marketing department, again, depending on what our budget's looking for, whether it's Waupun, Ripon, or here. And then, Colleen, the next one. If it's over $500, that's generally where we're reviewing with Deanne, Catherine, whatever ministry that might represent. We do look for public acknowledgement. That's one of the things that we'll talk with the requester is if we do sponsor this, how would we be recognized? And then again, we work with them to get the right naming convention, the right logos. Sometimes we'll even request to see it because sometimes the logos can be distorted and we obviously want to always look the best that we can. And that's it. Any questions on sponsorships? Perfect. Any other questions of any of our presenters today? Oh, if you, Terry's going to collect your forms today for your chance of winning some wonderful prizes that have our logo on them. And we appreciate everybody joining us on this Friday morning. A brisk Friday morning, but nonetheless, a Friday morning. And just to give a precursor to December, we're hoping you can join us December 11th, and Rich Nimke and Janaea Schwartz are going to be here. They're going to do a healthy cooking demo for us. And we're going to have one of our employees share her wellness message, a trip that she's taken through our Remodel Your Lifestyle program. So she's going to offer us our reflection that day. So please encourage people to join us on December 11th. How many am I drawing for?
You're drawing 3.
I'm drawing 3. So what am I drawing for first?
Well, we have a nice no and go